Last and final video of the series. We're ready to roll on how to submit your record book at the end of the summer, once you've got all the things you need so you can turn it in and submit it for your check. So anyway, we've been kind of on a long road here, a couple of boring videos. I do have one more video. I think I've mentioned it a couple of times. I'm gonna, highlight using the mobile website on a phone or something like that. That just looks a little bit different than the website on a computer. So I'll throw that in after this one on the playlist. But really, we've been through all of the items that we needed to cover through the original 3 videos plus this number 4 submission video. So a couple of things, kind of a funny deal right here in the middle of it, but I'll show you. You'll notice if you've been looking at the other videos and then jump in here, this looks just a little bit different. Obviously it's still the same stuff we've been working on, but the website got updated and it looks different than the other 3 videos. There's just some visual differences. A couple of links have changed, but I'll kind of walk you through those a little bit. The only big one, on this dashboard page where we log in, I don't have a link to my project manager anymore. That used to be right here in the corner. It's not there anymore, so we're going to have to go through these other pages to go find it. And you can find it on any of these 4 pages that you get to by clicking on these tiles, or even the tabs up here at the top. You can get there as well. So, getting to our Experience Manager, that's our first step. I don't care which one we click on. Let's try Finances. There's our Experience Manager. If I click on Journal, there's my Experience Manager. Profile, there it is. Program Experience Manager, or Project Experience Manager. It's here. So you can get to it. That's where we'll go to start with today. Again, remember, we've got a white line here for the County Fair Steer project because we've been making entries and making this work. This is showing that my plan is not complete anymore. It was at one point in time. Something must have changed in their requirements when they updated this website. I'm going to open it up. We'll take a look. There's my description. My time investment is here. My financial investment is here. Skills are here. The e-signatures. They must have made enough changes for this to work now. If you remember from that video, I told you that it wasn't quite where it needed to be at that time, but our update may have changed. So that being the case, you're welcome to start sending this on to the appropriate places. The student will sign it. I'm going to sign my name here. Submit my it's that easy, right? Now I have signed it. It's going to send an email on to my parent. It looks like is the next step. I'm going to say request a parent signature. I'll open up my email and show you what it kind of looks like. It's like this. So we got an email from Russell. Okay, that's at judgingcard.com. That's the company that runs our website, or our record book website. It gives us a little bit of information. Says it's requesting an e-signature. You click on the link, and it will open up this page for you to say, okay, this is what my child wrote. Plan, everything looks good, and then you can type in your name here and approve and sign. If you don't like it, you're welcome to do that. It says thank you, it was done, you're in good shape. But as we save this, we come back, we can see that we have started that process, e-signatures are being done, we've got a green check mark again, we should be in good shape. Okay, so we're set there. As we complete this out, remember our review is what we need to come back and look at. We want to come in and see our annual review. This is the scope of our project, realistically. Okay, our numeric quantity, we had 2 steers. I can type that up, but 2 steers for the county fair. As a browser, type it, appropriately. Use punctuation and capital letters and all those things. If you want to see a little bit of instruction on what this description should or could be, you can hover over the question mark or watch the little video. But this part right here is the annual review. We've got some efficiency factors and learning outcomes. We can add a new factor like class placing. Something that we wanted to keep track of, because last year we placed 4th in class. This year we wanted to place in the top 2. Well, got 1st in class. Okay, and that would be a great way to do this. Give a little description here. Place 1st in class with my steer. And if you've got other things to write there, went on to Missouri division, or so on and so forth, whatever you want to add as a description. You can add another efficiency factor if you want to add things in. This is probably sufficient for where we're at right now. Click Save. And that now has our green check mark. Now that we're at the end of our project, when we're submitting the record book, it's the end of the project. Everything's done. We've sold the animal. We're waiting on the check. But we can go back into the system, and we know what we earned through that project. We're going to fix this red X as well. Do this little review. We're going to come back and see the skills that we chose in our plan, the original plan, and those skills. Now we're going to come through and say what happened to get to the point we wanted to be with each of those skills. How did that work for us? Okay, each one of them, maybe. And I'm going quickly here just for time's sake. You guys can type up where you were at, what the goals you reached, and what really happened, and those kind of things. Okay, add that kind of stuff so that it looks good and sounds good. Again, there's a little question mark to hover over so you can have an idea of what to type up in those boxes. That should get us there. If I have those entered there, a little save icon pops up in the corner to show me that they've been saved. Return to my project manager, and now I've got a green check mark there. So that's where we're at. We've got everything we need. We've got financial entries. We've got journal entries. We've got a couple of pictures that we've taken and put in there, and then we've got green check marks on our annual review and our skills that we planned on before the project really started. So everything's set. We're all done with our record book. Now it needs to be submitted. In order to submit our record books, you want to be able to double check it. Make sure you've got everything where you want it to be. All the check marks look like they line up. Well, let's go find out what you need to have in order to know that you've met the requirement for your record book. So 2 things we're going to look at. First is the report right here. This report, when I click this button, you can see that it pops up the title of what this report is. It's called the Single SAE Report. So I'm going to click that. It will download that. It automatically downloads into my browser. You can open this report, and this, you can print it if you want to. You can see what you've got, but all of the things that we filled out are dropped into this report in a very clear and organized way. So take a look at each of these things and match them up with this checklist. This checklist is our Summer Ag Record Book checklist. We need to see that each of these things has happened. Okay? Your profile is complete. Now, you're not going to see the profile in that report. It doesn't have your profile percentage, but you can follow through with that video where we talked about the profile and verify that it got 100% profile there. And if you can't quite get to that 100%, talk with an FFA advisor and get it to that point. So completed profile in the AET should say 100% in both categories. The first thing that we're going to look at in the report is this project scope, right? The annual review. That's the last thing I just showed you to fill out. This is your scope of your project. So we've got the year, we had 2 show cattle, and then here was our description. You're welcome to elaborate on this and show what responsibilities you've gained, how they've improved through, or maybe not improved through the year, but how they've increased through the year. And for that matter, you could add improvements as well, and where you're at and what you're doing with this project and how you've gained something from it. Okay? But really it's the scope of the project. Next thing is your SAE plan. Okay? So the next one on the list, your checklist. We did have our scope, so why don't we put a check mark on it. The next one is our SAE plan. We want to see that it had the description, time investment, financial investment, and the 3 skill areas. So we'll go back to our report and we'll see our description, time investment, financial investment, and our learning objectives. And they don't go in this box, but they are right here. The skill area, what we had put together, our planned activities in this column, and then the results that we just typed very quickly, just to not waste more time on the video. Again, they should reflect what we were hoping for, and maybe something above and beyond, or maybe it wasn't above and beyond. Maybe it was less than where you were hoping, but you've got an explanation for what the program was there. So those skill areas, learning objectives, are in this table on this page. Okay? So we've got those there. We can check that one off the checklist, just so that we are kind of keeping track. I know that I had 100% on my profile. I'm going to check that just to keep us in line. The next step is to make sure we've got a minimum of 10 journal entries. And they're going to indicate that you've got a minimum of 90 hours worked in the project, keeping track of all of the activities that you did that may have been important individual experiences, like giving your animal a shot, or checking its weight, or taking it to a jackpot show, or going to tagging, or some of those kind of specific, important, not regular activities. Those could be fit in as journal entries. But then you've also got all of the time that you spend working on that project, feeding and taking care of that animal, walking and exercising and practicing showmanship, all of the things you would add into that, into the journal entries. Those ones that are the routine, very routine things happening on a daily, weekly basis, you would enter that in as weekly or every other week entries, like we talked in that specific video. Now we want to see at least 10 journal entries. You're welcome to have lots more journal entries. 10 is our minimum, and we do want to be looking for a minimum of 90 hours in that project, which starting back in April, you're probably, or even before that, right? If you've got a steer, you probably started last November or something. You're going to be able to pull 90 hours out if you're tracking that project from beginning to end. Budget was part of our plan, so that's still there. Here's our journal entries that we're looking for. Okay, you can see that I only have 4 journal entries. Total entries is 4. So I don't have enough. I'm not going to make the cut. I'm going to need to go back and make sure that I've touched on all of the things that I've done through the year, working on that project, and make sure that I've got my hours recorded. I've got 29 and a half hours, okay, between those 4 journal entries. And that's going to be handy to know this information as we look at our income and expenses right down at the bottom of this page. So there's where I'm going to be looking for my total entries and my hours. Okay, again, our minimum is 10 journal entries and 90 hours. So get to that point, and you should be in good shape. All of our financial entries should be included here. And that's going to include our expenses like buying the animal, feed for the animal, and other supplies, whether it's show supplies or equipment that they need to survive, whatever it might be. It could include the feed, having its hooves trimmed, or something like that. Add those expenses in there, as well as after the fair, you will have information on the sale, the boosts, and anything else throughout the summer, other income If you participated in a jackpot, maybe you had a payout. Your blue ribbon had $6 stapled to it as your premium. That could go in as other income. So there's things there. Income and expenses needs to go in our finances. So let's go look at that. We can see our operating expense. Purchased an animal for $1,500. We also traded an animal. We did a labor exchange with, I think we said it was with our grandpa, right? He gave us a steer, and we worked for him on whatever project he needed, whether it was irrigating all summer or whatever, and then that steer was his payment for us. We traded with labor. So $1,200 was an expense because you put something of value on the table, your time, worth $1,200 there. Your feed, got $500 in feed and some other supplies from IFA for $100. There's our expenses. That's where you're going to see that. You come down another box to our income, and we can see that we sold one of those steers for $3,500. We didn't sell the other one. It's still in the pen. And maybe that's the case with you if you've got an alternate, if you're going to go to the state fair, or it's going to end up in your freezer at home. You're not going to see that sale here necessarily because you might be turning in this record book before that sale happens. And that's okay. But just recognize that that $1,200 is still an expense, and there's no return on that animal at this point. So again, we've got some income like a jackpot payout, boosts that came from grandma and grandpa and some other business. Okay, so we've got boosts that are in here as well. So that's our income that we're going to see in our projects. Find it right here in the report. You get an idea of what happened with your market manager. So our financial entries are all there. Next, we want to see 6 photos. 4 of those photos should be you and your project working and working that animal out or doing the work of the project. But you ought to be in those 4 pictures. Another picture should indicate some type of safety precaution that you take in your project. What do you do to make sure that you, others, and your animals stay safe in what you're doing? And then the last one, the last photo you should have, should include a picture of your thank you cards that you would send out to your boosters and your buyer. Those 6 pictures should all include a description to just give an idea of what they are and what's going on in that picture. Okay, I had to make a little adjustment because the images were not, my pictures were not showing up in my single SAE report, and I'll show you why. Here's how you fix it. So if I scroll down now, this is my updated single SAE report, record book, and you can see just below the budget, below the plan, are the pictures that I submitted or uploaded in my journal entries as we were going along. Now, I do want to show you what this looks like, and if we go back to our Experience Manager, so that I have 3 files. Those are my photos, my pictures, 3 of them. I'm going to click on that, and you can see there's the 3 of them. You'll notice that this one says Northern Lights. That's my description. As you type something in there, this is where you'll see the description. Click on Edit, type in a description, click Save, and that description shows up here. This picture at the bottom, I did not add a description. Your pictures will not be pushed into the report unless they have a description. So that's the reason they weren't showing up originally. But now, as we move forward, you will see these images here, but only the 2 that have the description added. Okay, so as we look at our checklist, those 6 photos should be there. As you start filling those in and adding them into journal entries, you can just add them to the portfolio. Right? Or you can always just go find another picture and upload more images that will tie them to your project. You can always change this and go to other projects but make sure that you're tying them to the appropriate project so that they can be added to your record book that you're going to submit. Again, this one without a description will not get pushed into the report. Only the pictures with descriptions. So you don't need descriptions on everything, only 6 of them. If you put descriptions on 15 pictures, there's going to be a lot of pictures in there. You only need descriptions on the pictures that you want to push into the report. Okay? So add those as you need to. And let me just come back. We'll do a little pedaling here and kind of see where we're at. If I click on Experience Manager, the files are there. There's a number 3 showing me how many files. That's realistically just photos that I've uploaded. Brings up our portfolio. That's what we call this, is the portfolio. And we see Northern Lights and the welding stinger on these 2 pictures. Those 2 with descriptions can go into my SAE report. There they are. So back to my checklist. I can check that off. Once I've got the 6, you should be in good shape. Then you can move on to download your complete SAE report in the AET. And that is done by clicking on the Reports tab, or just like we did with our Experience Manager, you open this up and this link right here will give you your report. Okay, so if I click on that, it's the way I got the report the first time in the video. I can show you from the Reports page. We click on Single Experience Reports. We choose the project that we want, County Fair Steer, and then we tell it we want the complete report in a PDF. Choose that. Again, it downloads into our browser or wherever on your computer that it goes. We can open that file up and see all of the things that I just kind of guided you through. There's a profit loss summary down here at the bottom, so that's handy to see. If you follow these numbers down, it's exactly what we had listed up here in our finances. You can see these numbers that lead to the bottom. Again, remember you've got a $1,200 expense that you didn't sell yet, so that animal's still sitting in the pasture or the pen, and you've only got $335 that you've earned back on this project if we go with the numbers that we have listed here. It shows that you've got 29.5 hours, and it even breaks it down for you to see how many dollars per hour you're making. So with my example hours that aren't realistic, we can see this $11 per hour. Some of you may earn lots more per hour, and some of you may earn much less per hour. Just depends on how you work your project out, how your finances work, and where you're at with that. But now that you've got this file, you can print it out, you can look at it, you and your parents can kind of see exactly where you were at and what you were doing, but you are going to turn this in electronically. So save that file that was downloaded. Okay, there's our SAE report. I've opened a bunch of them, but the last one that we did, number 6, that's the one I'm going to submit on the BEJL website. Again, that last one, I'm going to submit this one on the BEJL website. If we go up there and look at that, when you go to submit your record book, currently it is not open. So you're not going to be able to submit anything yet. Obviously we are not ready to submit, but just for the sake of looking at where it's at, you're going to find the link that's called Exhibitor Info. Exhibitor Info is where you'll go and find the tile that says Portfolio and Record Book Submission. Once you've got that, the deadlines, obviously, that's a 2023 deadline. That's last year's. You'll come down here to appropriate species that you're working with, and you can submit your project through these. We've got steer. Maybe the link, oh, it does work. It opens up a form that you're going to fill in some information and submit that project. The other option is to send it directly to your FFA advisor. FFA advisors can look at it and see where we're at. But this one will submit it very easily and online. and then we can all have a look at it and see where we're at. Okay? If you've got other questions, give us a call, shoot us an email, find us somewhere. We're happy to chat with you. We want to make sure that you're successful with these projects, and we have a good time doing it. Thanks for watching the video. If it's too long, again, skip around a little bit, find what you need, and utilize that to make your project the way you want it. Okay, thanks.